Hi, welcome to Introduction to Financial Aid. My name is Christina Winstead, and I'm the Associate Director for College Access Initiatives at the Washington Student Achievement Council. I'm excited to talk to you about paying for education after high school. The Washington Student Achievement Council, we're a small agency. We're located all around Washington State now, and we advance educational opportunities and attainment in Washington, and we do that through programs that you might know of like College Bound Scholarship or even Washington State Aid, and we also do it through policies. Today, we're going to talk about what financial aid is, the types of financial aid that are available, when you should apply for financial aid, how to apply for financial aid. We're also going to talk about scholarships and where you can get help and resources to support you as you apply for financial aid. So first, what is financial aid? Financial aid, it's just money to help you pay for your education after high school. It includes grants, loans, work study, and scholarships, and all of these work together to make education after high school more affordable. Financial aid, it's an umbrella. So it includes a lot of different things. It's not just one application or one type of aid. I know that we don't love umbrellas in Washington State, but for financial aid, we love umbrellas. It lets us talk about one term and a lot of things that it includes. So we'll be talking about grants, which are income-based. There are federal grants, state grants, and institutional grants, and they're going to be your favorite thing that you'll apply for. And I'll tell you why in just a couple minutes. We have scholarships. There are scholarships for everything. We'll talk about how there are scholarships that are merit-based and income-based and from a variety of sources. We'll talk about loans because we want to make sure that you're an informed consumer of any debt you might have to take for your education after high school. And we'll also talk about work study. And I know those two words together look like a bummer, but I promise you they're not. So first, let's talk about my favorite type of funding, grants. Why is it my favorite type? It's because it's gift aid. That typically means it's financial aid that you don't have to pay back, unless, for example, you withdraw from school and you owe a refund. So you have to meet what's called satisfactory academic progress, which means you have to maintain a certain standard level of your education in order to receive those funds. Why I love it so much is because the grants I received allowed me to pursue a program that allows me to do something I love every single day, and I get paid a family wage for it. And that's all I want for students. I want you to think about where you are now and what you want to do for a career. And then where do you get there? How do you get there from point A to point B? So I'm mapping out how to get from here to there for the cheapest price possible, because I want to make sure that we reduce debt for students. There are two main types of grants we'll talk about. There's the Washington College Grant, and then there's a federal Pell Grant. So the Washington College Grant, or you might see it online at times as the WA Grant, it is a groundbreaking commitment to Washingtonians for our low and middle income families. It's not just for students who are leaving high school, but it's for any Washingtonian who's eligible. You can use this for certificate programs. You can do it for job training, apprenticeships, technical programs, or college programs. It just depends on your pathway. So when you think about what you want to do that earns that family wage, there are a lot of options to pay for it through the Washington College Grant. The Washington College Grant is amazing. It is one of the most robust funding packages in the nation. So there is money. This is your money. It's sitting there waiting for you. You just have to apply for it. If you're in a family of four, for example, and your family makes less than $73,000 a year, you're going to be eligible for a full tuition award. And that means a full tuition award, if you're like going to UW or a community and technical college, it covers the full tuition for you as a student. If your family makes up to $112,500, if you have a family of four, you're going to get some sort of sliding scale aid available to you. It really depends on how much your family makes, your family size, and of course, the school that you're going to go to or the program that you're going to attend. Even though we have one of the most robust funding packages in the nation, currently about 50% of our seniors apply for financial aid. But we know when we survey students that more than 50% want to pursue education after high school. So I encourage you, please consider applying for aid. It is your money just waiting for you. You just have to apply for it. You also have options to apply for scholarships. Now, I know a lot of people think scholarships are just for students who are amazing and have 4.0 GPAs, but that is not the case. There are scholarships for everyone out there. You can be the poster child of a 90s slacker like I was and still get scholarships. So I encourage you, apply. I have seen scholarships go unawarded every year that I've done this work, and I've done this for over 20 years. And what that means is that someone has said, hey, I'm going to put money together for a scholarship, and no one's applied for it. And when I ask students why they don't apply, I hear typically that they don't want to apply because they don't think they're going to get it, or that they might not be eligible for it, even though they are eligible. There was one scholarship I saw that was a soccer scholarship, and I was at a college fair, and no one was going to the table. It was 4 questions. Literally, it was, what is your name? Do you like soccer? What have you learned playing soccer? And how will you bring that to college? So I asked them at the end of the day, I said, I'm not really a sports person, but if I were to fill out the application and say, hi, my name's Christina, sports ball, I guess so. I think I would learn teamwork. And that's what I bring to college. She said, we would have given you $500, but no one applied. Be the student that applies. There are so many scholarships in Washington State. You can use the washboard.org to search scholarships based upon a profile that you build. There's also scholarships like the Washington State Opportunity Scholarship that's renewable. Scholarships help you pay for your education after high school. They can be a one-time gift, but they can also be renewable, which means you can use them year after year when you go to college. So remember the two words together, work study, that were like, work hard pass, study hard pass. Work study is actually an amazing opportunity to work while you're going to school, but work on campus. They are jobs that know that you're a student first and foremost, and they respect that and support you in that decision. They allow you to help pay for your education expenses, but these jobs are a little different because it's not like they're going directly to paying for tuition. You're going to get a check. You can work in a variety of places. You can be a big dork like me and love financial aid, which I do so much. I did a work study position there, and it was the best. It was the first time an employer asked me if I needed time off to study for finals. Typically, before that, I was working in food service and retail, and if I couldn't pick up extra shifts, sometimes my hours wouldn't be as great the next week. And it was really hard to be a student when they would call me and say, hey, can you come work when I had a chem test? I have other students that have worked in outreach, in tutoring, the library. I had a student who worked in student life that they just wanted to be an event planner. And in their student life job, they got to learn how to do catering contracts, release forms for photos. We even learned together how to cancel an event because we had 3 inches of snow and what to do with 500 burritos. They got to learn all these different things on the job that they wouldn't have learned in a classroom, and they got paid for it at the same time. You can be considered for work study when you apply for financial aid. There are income guidelines, and it'll be something that they ask you on the application. So loans are another option that are available for students to pay for education after high school. There are two main types of loans. So loans have to be paid back. They're unlike grants and work study. You pay these back. You can either take out one or both, either subsidized or unsubsidized loans. And you don't have to memorize this, but we just want you to start being familiar with the concepts. Unsubsidized loans are loans that when you take them out, the minute you take them out, they start accruing interest. So while you're in school, that interest is going to accrue. And then when you leave school, you will have the principal amount of the loan plus the interest to start paying off. Subsidized loans, those are loans that while you're in school, they're going to pay the interest while you're in school and for a short time after you graduate. And then you'll start paying off the loan, but the interest wouldn't have accrued the time that you're attending your college classes. I just encourage you, you're going to be offered typically large loans, but you may not need all of it. You can decline some of your loan. So if you get like a loan offer for $4,000, but you know you only need $2,000, take what you need, not what you want, because you have to pay it back. We want you to have an amazing time in your education after high school, but we don't want you to have to pay it back the rest of your life. And part of doing that is reducing the cost by not taking out loans when you don't need them. If you need the loans, that's totally fine. But don't take out the loans to buy things that aren't going to support your education while you're in school. So where does all this money come from? There are federal funds, and they can be used at most schools across the United States. So federal funds stay within the United States. State funds, those are for Washington residents who want to go to college in Washington. So you have to use state funds in Washington State. The colleges themselves might offer you funds to attend that specific institution, and then organizations may offer you scholarships or other in-kind donations to help support you. This can be different businesses, nonprofits, churches that are all wanting to support students. So let's talk a little bit more about federal aid. When you apply for the FAFSA, you are applying for federal aid, and if you're a Washingtonian, you're also being considered for state aid at the same time. So you're going to be considered for federal Pell Grant, federal work study, those unsubsidized and subsidized student loans. You'll also be considered for an option for your parents that they can apply for, and that is parent loans. So your parents might be offered an opportunity to take out loans in their name to pay for your education. For state aid, that's the Washington College Grant that we had talked about earlier, the WA grant, the College Bound Scholarship, State Work Study, Passport to Careers, and the Opportunity Grant. So let's talk about College Bound. College Bound is a two-step process. So you may have already signed up for College Bound in middle school. You might have been automatically enrolled. If you are eligible for free or reduced price lunch in 7th or 8th grade, you're automatically enrolled to this program. And if you have experienced foster care at any point in time from 7th grade through high school graduation, you're automatically enrolled. The second step in this process is to fulfill the College Bound Pledge. So you're going to meet the income and residency requirements, which means you're going to be a Washingtonian, and you're going to apply for financial aid to show that you're eligible. You're going to be accepted to and attend an eligible college within 1 year of graduation. What this does is it combines with state financial aid to cover the average cost of tuition at the comparable public college rate. So if you are going to a public college, the highest rate that we have in Washington are our research-based schools, and that is Wazoo and UW. So if you're going to Washington State University, it's going to cover your tuition. It's going to also cover some fees and a small book allowance. If you're going to a private college that costs more than the public rate, then you want to check with that private college in Washington to see if they have scholarships to cover the difference for college-bound students. That college-bound commitment will cover some fees and a small book allowance, but some schools have scholarships that help support you even further for the increased cost from private to public college. It can be used at over 65 schools in Washington State. It can be those private colleges, universities, 2-year colleges, 4-year colleges. There are so many options, but you have to use it in Washington. If you're trying to figure out, am I eligible for financial aid? We actually have a calculator that you can use. It's going to ask you your family size, the number of people who are attending college, and your family income, and we'll tell you how much you'll be considered for just from Washington State aid alone, not even federal aid. So we've talked about FAFSA, but there's also a second application, the WAFSA. So the FAFSA, this is the application for students who are U.S. citizens or who are from the Marshall Islands. There are eligible non-citizens as well who are eligible for federal aid. Those students will complete the FAFSA. The WAFSA is for Washington residents who are ineligible for federal aid for any reason that want to apply for Washington State aid alone. You're only going to do one application, never two. If you do two applications, it's not going to do anything other than give me more gray hairs. So what you want to do is either complete the FAFSA or the WAFSA. If you're unsure about what application to do, you can go to wasac.wa.gov/WAFSA and take a 5-question eligibility questionnaire, and it's going to tell you which one to do. If you complete the FAFSA, you'll be considered for federal and state aid. If you complete the WAFSA, you're just being considered for state aid alone. The FAFSA itself, this is just wanted to show you what it looks like. The application itself is pretty simple to access. You're going to go to the FAFSA page. It's available online or the paper application as well, but the paper application takes longer to process. You're going to do it in English or in Spanish. The first step to the FAFSA is doing the FSA ID. The FSA ID is you creating an account for financial aid, and what it does is it allows you to access your application year after year. You only do it once. Students who are applying for aid will need a social security number, you'll need your own email address, and you'll also need your own phone number. Don't use your email address from high school because you'll no longer have access to that email address after you graduate. It's a great time to make an email address that you are going to check on a regular basis that won't make an admissions officer blush. So this is your first step, and you can take this first step at any point in time. If you're doing the WAFSA, you can create your WAFSA account. You're just going to go right to our webpage. It's going to ask you eligibility questions and then take you to your account creation page. You only create your account for the FAFSA or WAFSA once. You continue to use that information to log into your application year after year. You're going to apply for financial aid every single year that you go to college. For the WAFSA, you also need your own email address. And again, you don't want to use your high school email address. You'll need internet access, and the application is available in English and Spanish. For financial aid purposes, you'll be considered either dependent or independent. Now, again, I'm saying for financial aid purposes. I know that you are an independent human with independent needs and thoughts, but for financial aid purposes, until you're 24 years old, most students will be considered dependent students and will require parent information on the application. You will not need parent information if you are under the age of 24 and you meet specific criteria. For example, if you are if you're an emancipated minor, you will not need parent information. If you are experiencing homelessness or at risk for homelessness and is self-supporting, you'll want to be assessed for McKinney-Vento, and you'll also be considered independent for financial aid purposes. If you have been in foster care anytime after the age of 13, then you will also be considered independent for financial aid purposes. Not all the reasons are listed on here. So if you have a special circumstance, for example, if you don't live at home because your family has an abusive environment, if you don't know where your parents are, if your parents are incarcerated, you want to note that on your financial aid application and connect with the financial aid office so they can assess you to be independent as well. But for most students, you're going to be required to provide parent information on the application for financial aid. The information that you're going to need, if you have a driver's license or state ID, you can use that on the application, but if you don't, no worries. It's going to ask about you as an individual and your income. So your bank statements will be important to have. If you have a W-2, it's great to have that, or a pay stub. And then if you filed taxes, if you're in the class of 2024 and you filed 2022 taxes, you'll want to have that information as well. If you are considered dependent, you will want to provide information. Your parents are going to have to provide information, and they'll want their bank statements, child support statements, W-2 or pay stubs, and if they have filed a 2022 tax document, tax return, they'll also want to have access to that if possible. If you're completing the FAFSA, you're going to want to have your FSA ID, and also your parents are going to have to create an FSA ID. For you as the filer, you'll need your social security card or green card. And if your parents are also creating an FSA ID, if they have a social security number, they'll use that. And if they don't, no worries. When you're applying for financial aid, it's considering the eligibility for you as an individual. It does not matter your parents' status when it comes to applying for aid. They're looking if you are eligible, not your parents. Another financial aid application you might be asked to complete is the CSS profile. The CSS profile is an additional application that some schools require that's going to allow them to award institutional aid to you based upon a more in-depth profile of your ability to pay. It's $25 to create the CSS profile, and it's $16 to send it to each school. If your family's income is under $100,000, there are waivers for that cost. So let's talk about the timeline. When do you need to be doing these things? It's a little bit different this year, but you're going to start gathering your requirements now. You can also create your FSA ID or WAFSA account. You only have to do it once, and you can create that at any point in time. You want to make sure for the FAFSA, though, you create your FSA ID at least 1 to 3 days before you apply for financial aid. You will be unable to access your application for financial aid until your FSA ID is verified. So at least 1 to 3 days before you apply for financial aid, you're going to want to make sure to create that FSA ID. This year in December, the application for financial aid, the FAFSA and the WAFSA, both of them are going to open at some point during the month of December. Students are going to apply, you're going to apply for financial aid and admissions at the same time. So you can apply for all the money in the world, but if you don't apply for admissions, we have nowhere to send that money to. You want to make sure for admissions and financial aid deadlines to check with the college. Each college has their own deadline for both processes, and some of those deadlines have changed this year because of changes in financial aid. If a college emails you and asks you for more information, you're going to want to make sure you follow up on that request. If a school says they need more information, it sometimes means that you've been picked for a process called verification. It doesn't mean you've done anything wrong. It means that they need additional information to give you an award. Then the colleges, they're going to send you an admissions decision, and they're going to also send you an award letter. The award letter allows you to see how much they're offering you financially to attend their institution. You'll accept the aid that you want to accept, and then you'll start your process of enrolling. This year, there's a little bit of a change. The financial aid applications usually are open in October, but this year only, just for the class of 2024, the 24-25, which is the application you'll be doing, because that's when you go to college, the FAFSA and WASFA will be open at some point in December. So if you're drinking a peppermint mocha, it's probably time to think about applying for financial aid. Next year, because you have to reapply for financial aid every year that you go to college, you'll be applying starting October 1st. You'll be completing the 24-25 FAFSA or WAFSA, and you'll use 2022 income information. Here are your next steps. You're going to want to make sure you explore all your education after high school opportunities, and you want to use your high school and beyond plan. You've been using that for so long, and adding information to it, it can be very helpful in exploring your pathways. You also want to make sure that you're on track for high school graduation. And if you're doing dual credit like Running Start and you're trying to get an associate's, you also want to connect with your advisor at the college to ensure they're meeting the high school graduation requirements and the college requirements. And also, if you're getting your associate's, just a heads up, in a lot of colleges, your junior year, you declare your major. So it's a great time to think about what your major is going to be at the university. And your senior year, try to take classes that not just lead to high school and college graduation, but also lead you into your major at the university you want to attend. You can work with your Running Start counselor at the high school or the college to ensure that you're meeting the requirements for both and to support you as you start planning. You want to decide which application you're going to use. Are you going to use the FAFSA or the WAFSA? The one thing you're going to do is not use both. So you're going to do one or the other. And then you're going to create your FSA ID or your WAFSA account and start your application for financial aid in December. If you need more help, we have a one-stop shop for juniors and seniors that have information about exploring careers, resources, how to apply, everything that you're going to need to support you. We also have events that will support you. It's a one-stop shop at our action plan page. The 12th Year Campaign is here to help. We have virtual events. They are in English and Spanish. They will help you take the next step to applying for financial aid and for education after high school. There are resources that will support you that are digital, as well as there are paper, like we have paper workbooks you can use. It depends on the format that you want. We also have a Padlet for you. This Padlet will walk you through the application, the FAFSA and the WAFSA. It'll help you if you get stuck. There are resources and tools to help walk you through the application. It'll talk to you about how to accept award letters and other financial aid resources. This is updated on a regular basis, so everything on here, as it's been updated, we update it on the Padlet as well. Then we have our Washington College grant videos. There are financial aid, education, and training videos. These are short, under 2-minute videos that talk to you about the Washington College grant and other resources that are available to you and why it's important to think about education after high school. We know that it's a lot of work to do, but we're here to help. We have resources online. We support your high school counselors in this process, and we're really excited for you to take your next steps for education after high school. We want you to find what you love to do that earns that family wage and then get the training you need to get there. If you need help, connect with us on our email, on our websites. We're just really excited for you to take your next steps as the class of 2024.